The last time we talked about Activision Blizzard, it was about the delay of Overwatch 2 and the uncertainty and grim outlook it brought on the Overwatch League. Unfortunately for the company, the OWL isn't the only esports league that's struggling. That's right, the Call of Duty League is also in trouble. Considering the game's long history and the dedication and loyalty of its diehard fans, the state of the Call of Duty League may come as a big surprise to casual observers of the scene. While the creation of the Call of Duty League had the clear intention of making COD a top-tier esport, Activision Blizzard has once again fumbled the bag and pushed that goal further away than ever. So how did Activision Blizzard take one of the most popular titles in gaming history and fail to create a top esports league? This is the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League, or CDL, is Activision Blizzard's attempt to create a Tier 1 esport for the perennial title. It served as a replacement to the Call of Duty World League, an open circuit system that was operated by Activision, MLG, and Call of Duty developer Treyarch. The CDL consists of 12 teams representing 9 cities in the United States and 1 city in Canada, the UK, and France respectively. For the inaugural season of the CDL, the format of matches were pretty similar to what it was in the CWL. Games were played in one of 3 modes: Domination, Search and Destroy, and Hardpoint, and the CDL adopted the new 5v5 as opposed to 4v4 structure, which was originally adopted in 2019. But while the match format stayed the same, the franchising of long-established teams was not well received by the community. Many fans were vocal about their preference for the open circuit format of the CWL. After all, Call of Duty was one of the first esports titles to go mainstream, and organizations like Optic Gaming, 100 Thieves, and FaZe Clan all had their start in the COD series. COD Competitive has years of rich history, and whether you were competing in the early days of MLG, climbing the ladder on game battles, or watching an underdog run live on Justin TV or Machinima, open circuit formats were where legends were born. Anyone and their friends could compete, and if you and your high school buddies were good enough, you could make it all the way to the biggest tournaments in the world. But as soon as the CDL decided to franchise everything, a little bit of that magic was lost. In addition, the CWL era of Call of Duty featured a thriving amateur scene, something that has been largely ignored and become, quote, low to no priority, in the words of former manager of competition operations for the CDL, Matthew Zaborowski. In the end, while the move to a franchise league might rake in more money or be better for the longevity of the scene, according to execs, it felt like forcing the best teams to franchise was actually driving many fans away. And this is because, initially, the league was missing some key organizations in the Call of Duty scene. 100 Thieves, FaZe Clan, and the 2019 CWL winners, E-United, were all absent when franchising first started. While 100 Thieves and FaZe would eventually make their way into the league, their initial hesitation did not exactly inspire confidence in the Call of Duty fanbase. However, Activision Blizzard believed this to be a non-issue, especially since other iconic organizations like Envy and Optic were on board. Johanna Ferries, the commissioner of the CDL, felt that since the league was going through a major transition, it was likely that organizations outside of the core COD community would likely be getting involved, saying, quote, while we may not be 100% representative, at the same time, the shift to a city-based franchise model actually required different shops and different types of organizations coming into the fold. Part of the reason that some teams were unable to commit to the league was the fact that securing a franchise spot would reportedly cost $25 million.
Money, please!
This kind of money might be understandable for Tier 1 esports like League of Legends or Overwatch, but as far as a global following goes, Call of Duty is nowhere near that popular. Along with this, established organizations wouldn't be allowed to use their pre-existing branding and had to commit to representing a city, something that was brought up by Matthew Nadeshot Haag when he originally announced that 100 Thieves wouldn't be an initial part of the CDL.
Financial commitment as large as this just isn't possible for us right now.
But despite the complaints and criticisms, the CDL opened to a monster weekend, as the Chicago Huntsmen faced off against Optic Gaming LA, bringing in a peak of 103,000 viewers. Unfortunately, the season was quickly derailed by the COVID-19 pandemic, which moved all events online. Luckily, the league bounced back quickly. When all was said and done, the finals saw the Dallas Empire, owned by Team Envy, becoming the league's first champions in front of an audience of 300,000 viewers. Not bad for an inaugural season. However, one day after the end of the first season, Activision Blizzard managed to piss everyone off once again by announcing that the second season of the Call of Duty League would be played on the new Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. This, in and of itself, wasn't a big deal or even a surprise. I mean, after all, Call of Duty comes out with a new game every year. The competitive scene is probably gonna move with it. But what really rustled people's jimmies was that the league would be reverting to a 4v4 format after 2 whole years of 5v5. While it's generally agreed upon that 4v4 is more popular and generally easier to watch, the reputation of the CDL and that of Activision Blizzard was seriously tarnished. The reason for this is that 4v4 is a completely different game than 5v5, so teams were going to have to get used to playing with one less player on a pretty quick turnaround. But more importantly, teams now had to drop one of their players from the starting lineup. As James Clayster Eubanks, a member of the Championship Dallas Empire team, pointed out in a tweet, quote, "Then again, this looks and smells like a cost-cutting measure for orgs to be able to maintain their investment during COVID. Not gonna talk about it anymore. Pretty upsetting that we can't see what this team can do next year. Just wish it wasn't like this. Nobody deserves to go."
Black Ops 4 season, it was a good season. Like 5v5 didn't make or break it. I think it could have thrived just as much as 4v4. To sit here and say that 5v5 like ruined competitive Call of Duty or anything like that, I don't think it did. But just the flow and the understanding of the game from a viewer perspective is a lot easier in 4v4 COD. There isn't as much going on around the map. You know, the plays that people are making on rotation, specifically in respawn, I think it helps a lot in 4v4 just for readability of the game as a viewer.
While many fans were excited for the return to 4v4, the 2021 season still saw a big dip in viewership. But the bad news was only beginning, as early in 2021, Kyler Hugh Garland, another player on the Dallas Empire, admitted that he, his teammates, and many in the CDL were actively using Adderall during official matches, a situation we've covered in a previous video. The league's response was to try and sweep it under the rug, actively stopping personalities in the scene from talking about it and taking little to no disciplinary actions.
Activision's doing damage control right now, bruh.
What they do, bro.
When the league is actively taking the side of drugs, any other league worth its salt would have addressed the issue and come down hard, but not the CDL, apparently. And despite all the issues coming into the second season, the worst was yet to come. You see, up until this point, the CDL never had any direct competitors from any of the other quote-unquote OG FPS console games. You know, the age-old debate of Halo versus Call of Duty. I'm sure you can see where this is going. The release of Halo Infinite and the revamping of the Halo Championship series was bad news for the CDL. Immediately, fans saw the difference in how 343 Industries treated Halo competitive compared to how Activision Blizzard treated Call of Duty competitive, and it was clear that Halo was coming out guns blazing. This was compounded by the release of 2021's COD, Vanguard, a game that many in the community have referred to as, quote, a spit in the face of competitive Call of Duty. Why was Vanguard so bad? Well, as Hector Hex Rodriguez pointed out, Call of Duty never has League Play, the game's ranked mode, released upon launch, and that feature was once again missing with the release of Vanguard. Halo Infinite, on the other hand, had ranked play from the get-go, and saw thousands upon thousands of players eager to climb the ladder. Hex continued.
In theory, you put money against it, you would not say this, that Halo was going to have that good of a fucking launch. No shot.
Yeah.
That community is dead. It should not. It's dead, dormant. It's never going to come back. But what happens? Good product, good competitive settings. Whatever the competitors are, whatever the pro players are playing is something that you can play when you launch your game with no problems. We have private lobbies with fucking Krampus. We are a fucking second thought to competitive. Now, I will lead again by saying that everybody at the league level, okay, everybody that works on the league product wants Call of Duty competitive to work. It is the developers that are the ones that are falling way behind it and are letting us down.
Unfortunately, Hex wasn't the only owner criticizing the way Activision Blizzard had been handling the game's competitive scene, with Nadeshot calling out the company in a series of tweets for its handling of the CDL and failure to present a good product, saying, quote, I went to our board of directors pleading for us to get back into competitive Call of Duty. I said, let's spend the money. Let's give our community what they're asking for. Just trust me, and I'll make sure LA Thieves is a success. 2 years later, I guess I'm the fool. With so many figures within the scene criticizing the state of the league, and fans sharing similar feelings, now is the time for Activision Blizzard to start panicking. Since the inception of the CDL, it has felt like the league has been in a constant state of recovering from some big issue that affected everyone. What should have been Activision Blizzard's second entry into the upper echelon of top esports scenes has instead become another failure. In the end, instead of bringing more fans to the game, it's left fans looking nostalgic for the past and jumping ship to other games. While this isn't the absolute end of Call of Duty and the CDL, there is a lot of work that needs to be done. Luckily, big changes are likely on the way, with news breaking of Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. With Microsoft leading the way, there could be a lot of positive changes for the game, at least on the developer side of things. But what this acquisition means for Activision Blizzard's various esports titles is still unknown. But one thing is for certain, Microsoft has an amazing opportunity to become an immediate leader in the esports industry, especially with the recent success of the HCS and its past history with other games like Gears of War. Now having access to IPs like StarCraft, Overwatch, and Call of Duty, the possibilities are endless. Obviously, there's still a lot of work to be done, but with a new company leading the way, fans of the Call of Duty franchise should feel more hopeful than they have in years. This video is made possible thanks to our wonderful patrons. Massive thank you to everyone on this list, and shout out to Jason, B, Brendan, QB, Foxy, Mauve, Pachanas, Sierra, Shampoo, Weeaboo, Spartacus, and Yashichi for being platinum supporters, and an extra special shout out to Steven, Noodles, and Marco for being diamond supporters. Happy New Year! We're glad you're all still here. Check us out on Instagram, linked in the description. If you want to support our channel and get info on unreleased videos, check out our Patreon. If you want to help us out in a different way, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is also appreciated. My name is Jonah. Thanks for watching.